Methodology management and establishing comparison. In Table 2, a brief explanation of the methodologies approaches is introduced. We can make a comparison by putting the methodologies together and recognize what methodologies will be more consistent with the organization and its particular condition. Table 2. BPM establishment methodologies comparison. Different types of the organizational structure: task-based structure, production-based structure, structure based on areas of operation, project-based structure, matrix-based structure, treasury, process-based structure. Process-based structures. Process-based structures emphasize horizontal organizational relations rather than public relations. All necessary functions or tasks to produce or product or service are concentrated in a common unit, usually run by a person called the process executive. In these types of the structures, management levels and senior management teams are small, supervising only some key support services such as strategic planning, finance, and human resources. Process structure removes many hierarchical and sector boundaries that make coordination difficult and slow down the decision-making and implementation process. These structures reduce the high costs of managing relationships between departments as well as wide and long organizational hierarchies. These structures allow the organization to spend its resources to service customers more, whether to internal or external customers. What are the frameworks and methods of doing work in the world? One of the most important factors in the success of business process management project is applying the right method or framework. A framework is an organized set of procedures, techniques, and tools developed to conduct the project and reduce problems during the project. There are 5 known frameworks for deploying BPM in the world, which are Chang Framework, Wesky Framework, ARES Framework, Justin-Nilles Framework, Fundamental of Process Management. Chang Framework. James Chang is the founder and head of Ivy Consulting Company. He has executive ERP experience for 500 Fortune companies. Chang's methodology generally has a top-down approach. That is, it first involves the upper level of the organization in the project and then deal with the lower levels. The Chang created by this methodology in the organization are fundamental changes. This methodology covers all stages of the BPM life cycle and is considered as a comprehensive methodology in this sense. Figure 4 Chang Framework. In short, we can say in the commit step, the organization commits to process management. In the research step, the organization identifies current business processes. In this step, the business process management system and the case tools are selected. The next 4 stages create a repetitive cycle. The analysis step includes the formation of the project team and charter, as well as the identification of current process efficiency criteria. In the design step, the to-be process is optimized and architected. From a process point of view, the support step does not stop. The new process will be controlled and monitored by BPMS continuously. In the following, all steps of this methodology are described in more details. Commitment to do the work. When an organization decides to implement BPM, all base of the organization must be committed to that decision. What usually happens is that the project team is formed to implement the initial business improvements, and the same team is responsible for performing all the stages of the BPM project from beginning to end. Such an approach may be appropriate in organizations with the structures that are familiar with change, but it can greatly increase the risk in organizations that do not accept changes easily. It can be said that there will be resistance to change in almost all the organizations. It is possible to provide the required platform for the transition from the traditional task structure to process structures by aligning horizontal the organizational structure. Such changes require a lot of efforts and careful attention of the executive management. Even if all executive managers agree with these changes, there will be a strong resistance from senior executive definitely. Certainly, they will try to keep their position in the organization, so there should be an exact planning to convince senior managers and supervisors of the organizational units about the need to streamline the organizational structure to reduce the project risk. Therefore, in this methodology, there is commitment step to deal with major changes in cultural and organizational aspects. At this point, the entire organization must commit to implement the changes created by BPM in the organization, and this commitment will start at the top layers of the organization. Research. The commitment step requires some efforts at the executive management level. The second step will begin after the executive management determines the strategic directions of the organization and begins to streamline the structure of the organization. At this stage, James Chang divides the work into three main parts. First, preparing the organization for change, which can be done through training and other methods of culturalization. Second, determining the current business processes that determine current state of the organization from this perspective. And finally, creating the appropriate context and infrastructure for process management technology that will lead to the selection of the appropriate platform. Analysis. The analysis of project processes is done in this stage. The analysis is usually based on the indicators developed in the process modeling stage and in process description. The selected processes are identified to improve in this stage. Design. In this stage, three steps must be performed in the following sequence. Step 1. Optimize the business process. The process can be run in a test environment before running in the real environment to select the best option. That is, we can use the simulation option. Step 2. Build the process prototype. Step 3. Complete the process design. Update the redesigned organization structure with revised roles and responsibilities. Design all possible paths and scenarios for the process. 3. Implementation. The technical design documents are implemented in this stage. The program is tested and the training documents and user guides are finalized. 4. Support. In this stage, a support office is established and the necessary steps are performed. Activities are taken out of the project management and performed in the support office after implementing.